peace, and, and happy now. Now is a vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future, not going too far in the past. Right now, matter of fact, now is a vibrate. Dealing with our spiritual growth, and dealing with enlightenment, we come across these ideas of that we gotta do so much, changing ourselves, It's like we got the idea of that you gotta be, nice to be spiritual, or you gotta be always meditating to be spiritual. They got all these different little dogmatic templates, in essence, of spirituality. But the true bottom line to our spirituality, is basically just realizing that, there is a bigger connection where, of course, you're in your individual little bodysuit, but this individual bodysuit is connected to everything around it. It's consciously knowing that. And I am going to say just reading information about, oh yeah, everything is connected, and, no, it's like getting to a place where you consciously know, like, all right, dang, everything is connected, you know what I'm saying? And it's just operating, so knowing everything is connected, and from that moment on, just being your greatest version to the best of your ability in the moment, in the now, from now on to the next now, you know what I'm saying? Like that's all your spiritual path is really truly about. We go to getting in our ways with a lot of our, again, the brain activity, overthinking, and two, because I catch myself, we've been taught, a lot of us, depending on what was your upbringing, but you've been taught these dogmatic approaches to spirituality, and no matter how much, you may pull yourself away from it, they kind of, you may find yourself falling back into those slides, but just using different words, or a person, say for instance, oh, I'm not religious anymore, I'm just spiritual, but then at the same time, they worship Oshun like a Christian worship Jesus, you know what I'm saying? Well, then you still in that same parallel, like you haven't stepped out of the paradigm of being dogmatic, in a religion. They're stepping into a place again of realizing not only that, and that's what I forgot to add, that you're interconnected with everything, but also you're a God, you're a source, you're the universe on a human experience, connected to everything and on the experience. But it's not about like reading all Elijah Muhammad books and Rudolf Steiner and Gerald Massey books and the site, like, of course getting our esoteric and occult information in, but that just like, doing that don't just like, all right, now you pass. Like, there's no one thing to do. Like, that's just all a part of our growth, like we gravitate towards, certain information or things of this nature. But to bring it in perspective, these trees and these plants around me, and I read no books about occultism or, esoteric information, and yet they still continue to be so divine, and connected to source, because it's just in their being, you know what I'm saying? Our connection, in essence, is just that simple being. And one of the reasons that kind of triggered me doing this video is when I thought, like, I caught a download last night where I caught a thought of like the memory of like I say the memory like it's that far back, but with me and my mom's, on Saturdays, cleaning up the house, now of course this culturally varies between people, but just one of the things, dealing with, being a young black kid growing up in the hood, in most cases, time to clean up. Mom's turn on some old school music, and we jamming and vacuuming and dusting and stuff like that. And I realized, like, those moments of how that was like spiritual healing, without even knowing it. So even though me and my mom wasn't, like, my mom didn't know anything about no chakras and sound healing and, and how cleaning up your area creates a certain type of feng shui, you know, that wasn't told to us, but yet here it is that, and so when I caught that thought, I caught the download. My higher self was like, yeah, like the music and stuff, that was healing for y'all chakras, like the songs was healing, and dancing around and stuff like that, getting the body getting the body loose and moving up, loose and moving together, getting the body loose and moving, getting those energies aligned for, pop loose those meridians, you know what I'm saying? Almost like pop locking and, you know what I'm saying? Getting that energy, allowing that energy to flow through the body, So just seeing like, matter of fact, in that, I always like to say in that Louisiana ignorance, you know what I'm saying? Back home where even without knowing all these books about the law of attraction and, all the logic behind, being spiritual and all the information behind it, even though a lot of people in Louisiana don't, have that knowledge indirectly, that God energy just, moves through us. And again, it's about, like say for instance, I even caught the download that I could honestly go back to not fully being my old self, but in essence, being that same person, just cleaning up my vibration, you know what I'm saying? That's why, if y'all could tell, like I'm back joking more and, cursing still, you know what I'm saying? Like, basically like, not throwing out things, because say for instance, some of these things I threw out because I had this dogmatic idea of spirituality and how it should be done, you know what I'm saying? So I was having a dogmatic approach, in essence throwing out things that I didn't have to, well again, because I had this little dogmatic view about how spirituality should be, like, oh, I should act like a monk, so that means I should, be quiet and never clown, or I should, you know what I'm saying, like we look at these things, or like a yogi, and of course, the things they do go into spirituality too, don't get it twisted, but again, it's not like that you have to be like this or be doing this in order to, connect to your inner source. You have to be, matter of fact, another thing, I didn't actually say it in this man, but being authentic, you know what I'm saying? Like being authentic is another way of, being authentically yourself, because, the tree is being authentically itself, all it could be is a mulberry tree. The fig tree is being authentically a fig tree, you know what I'm saying? Like, be authentic in your being, be who you truly are, and even if it may be a little dark, ain't nothing wrong with dark. That's another thing. We taught this dogmatic vibe of like, everybody gotta be, in a nice, peachy, lighty side, but nah, they got, like, cause I cycle through, my light and dark, sometimes I'll cry over, a crackhead drop a quarter down the drain, that might make me want to cry, he wasn't able to buy his Twinkie from the store, he ain't gonna eat, like something like that could make me cry. And then you talk about a baby transitioning, and I bust out laughing, as a joke, because I know that soul ain't, it's not a baby, that is the soul that was in a baby bodysuit, basically like driving in a new car, you know what I'm saying? Like, cycling in out of those light and dark places, because God is all. So, even with that, making sure, I forgot what, how it's, oh yeah, being authentic, so even if it seems like it may be a little dark, like, again, if you feel your connection to source and you feel the authenticity of your being, then you're being who you truly are, you're being who you should be in essence, so it's not about how many books you read, how much you meditate, again, matter of fact, because you think about it, people who just eat vegan food, like, but their energy's still horrible as hell, you know what I'm saying, like, just eating, got people who eat meat, and, energy is in the proper place, know how to, they managing it in a proper way, and keeping their energy right, it's different walks to this, to our own unique spiritual paths, well, yeah, just that unique, you know what I'm saying? Like to our own spiritual being, you know. So when we got these general ideas of spirituality, you know, to be spiritual, I gotta wear a Papa Legba hat. Like, nah, you know what I'm saying? Like, just be where, you know, like, say for instance, being my authentic self, you know, I gravitate towards that energy. Like, that's what I want to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, being my authentic self and not saying, well, because I see so and so who's very spiritual do this, then I guess that's what I should be doing too. You know, like, nah, that's, and you could hear that coming from your thoughts. Like, that ain't nothing you feel. You know, something you feel, you'll gravitate towards it without even thinking. You know, that be the real stuff. Like the stuff that thought doesn't go into. Well, like, you know, say for instance, where you find yourself in the store getting some food or something, and you didn't, before doing that, it wasn't like you had to ponder, like, oh, I wonder what's my next move. Should I go and get something? You know what I'm saying? Like, no, you just, the energy, like, you know, just intuitively, you was already in tune with that, you know what I'm saying? So you just went with the flow instead of following the thought. But again, you know, it's just about being your authentic self, you know, becoming your greatest version, doing your best to become your greatest version in every second or every moment, you know, being authentic, you know, again, whatever it is, you know, knowing the connection. In essence, you know, all I would say is like, know the Hermetic principles, like learn those 7 laws of the universe and operate off of, you know that those laws are, you know, unchangeable until all of us come into a collective conscious agreement to change them. You know, until then, those laws are unchangeable, universal laws, you know, like all is thought. You can't change that, you know, as much as you would like to, you know, your thoughts is going to manifest at all times, you know. There's no stop button on the universe listening to your higher self, inner self, listening to your thoughts and your words, like it's always listening. So, you know, and that's where you see the importance of like getting away from just being around people who talk about just any conversations, like, you know that friend that just always like to talk about random stuff that don't serve y'all. Like, man, serial killer's crazy, man. And then all of a sudden you listen to a miscellaneous conversation about serial killers for about 40 minutes, and then, you know, when you by yourself, you watching TV and the show about serial killers pop up and this and that, and then a book about, you know what I'm saying? And you see how, you know, you let like how outside noise manifesting in your universe, and you start to see the importance of programming your own subconscious and, you know, being around the energies or dealing with the energies that you want to manifest in your, you know, in your universe. You know, I think about like how like where I remove myself from people who acknowledge the police on a certain level, like where they acknowledge them on not only on the scary type of level, but just talking too much about them in general. It's like I move away from that because I don't pay attention to them, don't have no need to. They not even in my universe. But if I sit around you talking about them for about 50 minutes, you know, my subconscious not hearing that's not me. My subconscious just hearing it and like, oh, all right, damn, you know what I'm saying? I hear you. You know, and that's how I roll. So, you know, being knowledgeable of these universal laws, because that also will put you in alignment in a place to know that, all right, I'm really not only, you know, God on a human experience, but these are the ways that I interact with myself, you know, from a macrocosm, microcosm perspective. So, you know, it allows for you to know better than getting mad at anything other than yourself, because you see how the universal laws is that operate through, you know, you know what I'm saying? So, but again, the spiritual, you know, the ascension process, just being authentic, being your greatest version to the best of your ability. You know, you could stop eating hamburgers right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, we all unique. You know your threshold. You know that you could quit doing whatever it is unhealthy, you know, that you're doing right now. Or you know that it's hard for you to stop right now, you know, and that don't be hard on yourself, because it is hard for you to quit. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever the case may be, you know, just again, be your authentic self. Matter of fact, don't be mad at yourself, don't guilt yourself. You know, that's why it's you know, it's not healthy to try to pay attention to other people's spiritual walk. And because indirectly, you know, you'll start comparing. Because I know, like, with this old Capricorn mind, like, just by looking at people, sometimes, like, it'll indirectly pull, like, a, you know, subconscious judgment of, like, how that person's spiritual path is. And I have to, like, check that, like, bruh, stop assuming what this person is doing behind closed, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what it starts to turn off for you, because for one, you in your thoughts by even assuming whatever they doing, and then it's like you get in your thoughts like, I wonder if I'm doing this right. Well, I saw that person, you know, seem like they at this part, I need to be doing this right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you trying to base your unique energy off of somebody else's unique spiritual path, and that's always gonna fail. Always. Like, you're never gonna because you're always going to be comparing yourself, you know, that egoic mind, you know, like trying to compare you know, it's like, nah, just be your authentic self and be true to your path, you know. If everybody be true to their path, then that's where the diversity and the evolution comes from, because then we all be in our unique selves. You know, again, like the potluck, it's like a potluck, like a party, you know, each person bring their own dish, because each person is, you know, extremely well at creating their unique dish, you know what I'm saying? You know, if a person is good at making the chili and the person good at making the fries, we're not trying to have the person that's good at making the fries make the chili, and the person that's good at making chili make the fries, because they trying to see, you know, the person with the chili, like, I wonder how they make their fries. Maybe I should try to make fries good. Like, no, stick to cooking your chili, like that's your unique thing. Bring chili to the party. You know what I'm saying? The vegan chili at that. You know what I'm saying? Or the meat chili. Matter of fact, to be real with you, you know, we ain't discriminating around here. You know, 'cause that's another thing too that we get mixed up with. And I'm starting to see, to a certain extent, I made a video about this, but like how, matter of fact, when I spoke about the Mac Mittens video, you know what I'm saying, where certain spiritual circles are putting out information to try to, you know, play a chess game of hindering, you know, melanated people's growth spiritually, you know, by giving out certain ideas that's still playing a chess game of, like, you know, hindering growth. And one of the ones I think of is like that vibration of being a vibrational snob. You know, say for instance, it's good to maintain your vibration and stay away from vibrations that, you know, may not be on the same frequency as you, or may pull you down. But at the same time, you know, this energy is not, to each his own on how you feel about where your energy should be. But, you know, like, I know for a fact though that, you know, somebody who's here to heal, you know, when your ability is to heal and to speak to others and articulate yourself well, that's not so you could go and articulate yourself well or heal people who don't really need healing or don't need a message, you know, articulated to them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not for me to go around a bunch of rich people who's already healed, who already, you know what I'm saying? Now, of course, if they need the healing and stuff like that, then of course, yeah, but, you know, these people who, you know, already doing these things and stuff like that, and I'm just going around them just so they could, just for the novelty of, oh, you know, we had universal frequencies speak to us today, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like, that's fine and dandy, but no, I'm here to help those people who hate the world and mad at the world, who really need love, you know, those people in those places, you know what I'm saying, that's, you know, where that energy is not easy accessible, you know what I'm saying, like, again, it's not about putting myself in a little, not say like in a little corner, but what I'm trying to say is just that when you have these certain gifts, it's to help people. So what I was getting to is, well, like, it's not about us being particular about vibration. God is all, so that means dealing with all vibrations. You know how we, it's being taught in some circles to, like, only deal with people of a high vibration, and only, stay amongst, people who are business minded and savvy. Which again, this is, how I say, it's something to not be on the extreme about, but it is true. You do want to. And what's funny though, this will indirectly happen though, so you don't have to really force yourself to, like, all right, I gotta forcefully make sure I be around people vibrating on the same frequency as me. When you vibrating on the, say for instance, a business level, entrepreneur level, or, you making sure you manifest your abundance, you indirectly gonna gravitate and vibe with the people that's on that same vibe. So you don't have to go looking for it, you know what I'm saying? Compared to where you're sitting there and trying to make sure that you never have a conversation with a homeless person, or you always making sure you're never in an area where you could come across what some people call common folk. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just always running away from the average Joe or Jane. You know what I'm saying? Because you don't want to, because their energies are too. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, what are you down here doing? You know what I'm saying? And again, as I'm saying, there's a paradox nature of this universe, you're not obligated as a person with abilities and stuff like that. You're as obligated as much as your inner being holds you to that, you know what I'm saying? Like, so, you're not here, like, your purpose in essence is not to worry about helping others, but, indirectly, when you loving yourself and helping yourself, as above, so below, as within, so without, as you're helping your inside, it kind of goes to helping things outside of you as well, So it's that whole vibe right there again. But, it's not being, a vibrational snob. And I remember making a video about that. And again, it's a balanced situation, because if you've been in the trenches too much, then yeah, you have to be a vibrational snob and set those boundaries and make sure that you're vibing around people that's kind of, at least picking up the vibe, or, allowing for it to recover. You know what I'm saying? Because yeah, you can't give away, or be around lower vibrations forever, or be around vibrations that's taken, for a long period of time. It's stick and move. Again, it's a balance. Just like the sun ain't just always out. It comes out and then, it go like, all right, I gotta go somewhere else or get my energy, and not come back. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that same essence. We just like, as above, so below, and that we just like planets, gravitating and orbiting in each other, passing through each other's orbit for a certain amount of time. You might go in retrograde in a certain person's planet, like, well, seem like we there for a little second, it seem like we stop moving, like we chilling for a second, and then we out. You know what I'm saying? But just definitely, realizing again, the spiritual walk is just about being your greatest version to the best of your ability, being authentic, realizing that you are God, the universe, source on a human experience, and not a human being spiritual. You know what I'm saying? That's what some people want you to think. You know what I'm saying? And you could tell by just the vibe of, like, who's giving the message, like, and what may be the thing that's more beneficial to your soul. Because the thing that's beneficial to your soul, that information is not going to be in alignment with coming from, the oppressors or the oppressor's religion. Like that place is going to always try to teach you to be of this matrix and not to know your God. Because here it is that the damn Bible scripture even got in it that ye are God's children of the Most High, but they still don't embrace, that information. That's how that's how much they trying to brainwash a person, But the information, in essence, as much as the Bible was created on some trying to throw information off and shit, like it still got some sauce that's leaked in there to help people still, but people still don't, you know what I'm saying? Like how Nat Turner in the movie used like the scripture that basically put slavery on blast about how, you know, evil it was. Evil. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you know, in that movie where, you know, instead of the Bible scriptures that the slave masters kind of wanted him to read, he was reading the ones that was showing that slavery was some bullshit. Because, as a matter of fact, at some point, some of the slave masters, because they was a little slow, but not too slow, they're like, wait, hold on a minute. Sound like you saying some liberating stuff. No, go to this chapter, Matthews, and go to the part about people should be serve their master God. You know what I'm saying? Like, go to the part that makes people seem more like slaves in the Bible. Like, read those scriptures, you know. But you know, that's the whole vibe. Again, and just seeing how naturally, like, again, like with me and mom's cleaning up, you know, on the weekend, and like the music, you know, the music healing the chakras and the dance and allowing for energy to flow through the meridians, and you know, by us cleaning, we, you know, creating a certain feng shui within the house, you know, all spiritual teachings just naturally there from source, you know, without even trying, you know. Matter of fact, speaking of that, I noticed like you know, in the difference between the melanated people in the South, especially like I think of Louisiana and New York, like those two states, like are like the polarized opposites. Like, you know, in the South in Louisiana, we embody a divine feminine approach to spirituality. You know, creative, artistic, going with the flow. You know, basically like less logic. Like we don't have all the logic and all the book smarts, you know, the masculine energy of like, you know, so all the physical, you know, book read spiritual knowledge, you know, Louisiana people not you know, by majority, and I'm speaking of too, you know, we more just naturally in tune to source just by naturally being in tune, you know, through our quote unquote ignorance, you know what I'm saying? Through the ignorance, an old person in Louisiana just sit down on their porch and like be in a little meditative state, you know, had a little meditative time to themselves, you know, indirectly, you know, again, even though it's through Christianity, you know, like my grandmother sitting down with her rosary beads, saying her rosary, like that's mantras, you know what I'm saying? Like indirectly, you know, that energy. Again, me and my mom's cleaning up on the weekend. That's dealing with feng shui and clearing the chakras, you know. But then in New York, it's more of the masculine, like logical, like, you know, like scientific. This is the science God, you know what I'm saying? Masculine logic, the thing coming from my thoughts, you know, elaborating from the, you know, from the mercury, the air, the wind aspect, you know, and then the Louisiana more earthy, you know what I'm saying, more Mama Earth, you know, knowing how to till the land and take care of the land without nobody giving a person a book. Like, you know how many botanists they got in Louisiana that never touched a book, you know what I'm saying? Like, compared to people who go to college for these type of things, you know what I'm saying? It's more of a divine, intuitive, spiritual nature to, you know, the Louisiana and the Southern vibes compared to, you know, the New York energies where it's more, you know, masculine and logical and, you know, and just kind of like almost with the flow of the world too, because like if you're not seen as a, you know, a logical person, or like say for instance with that masculine education, you know, like being extremely book smart with knowing like da 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 this and that happened in 1967, da 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 logic, you know, da da da. If you're not seen as that type of person in society, you're seen as slow or dumb. So you also see too where that energy of you know, Louisiana people are considered to be slow and dumb because it's, you know, the spiritual approach, you know, is more from a divine feminine place. And of course, you know, you still got the brainwashing of people still going with the flow of that, you know, Catholic stuff. But again, even in that, you know, brethren and sisters still kind of indirectly flow into a more just natural spiritual, you know, state of doing things, you know. But like, say for instance, the twerking in New Orleans, you know, like the New Orleans bounce music, you know, in essence, that's like African dance, you know what I'm saying? Like, naturally, you know, coming from, you know, New Orleans, the only place where where death is celebrated in essence. People come to New Orleans, like, or somebody like, I was in New Orleans, man. I saw a funeral procession and people were dancing and and this and that. They call that the second line. The first line, going, sorrow, like, oh, we miss you. Of course you got that in the second line, like, all right, time to enjoy, fucker. You out your body, you in a good place, and we celebrating the life that when you were here as well. You know what I'm saying? So it's that vibes, just naturally. You know what I'm saying? You see how that energy of source just is there. You just gotta consciously tap into it more. And again, that part of the spiritual path again is just consciously becoming aware of your God self and operating to the best of your ability, in the moment, like being in the moment, realizing to stay in the moment and not go outside that. Be your authentic self. Realize you're a God on a human experience, and just do your best to spiritually ascend in every second to the best of your ability. Not worrying about other people's path, but just doing it to the best of your ability on your path. That's it. You don't have to read you don't have to read The Power of Now. You don't have to read the Elijah Muhammad book, or the Flower of Life Melchizedek book, or what I'm saying? Like, that helps. Not saying that don't help. Like, it helps to know thyself on that on that level, but indirectly. And two, you start to see where it is, like, balancing those vibes, like how I talk about New York, Louisiana vibes, like, where if the New York people embodied a little bit of that go with the flow, being natural, like, like dealing with the earth, and they embodied that, and then we borrowed some of that logic. That's that perfect marriage of spirituality, the masculine and the feminine energies coming together, creating that, just like the Kundalini, the Ida and Pingala, that marriage, what I'm saying, of the masculine and feminine, the yin and yang coming together, not for the feminine to overpower the masculine, not for the masculine to overpower the feminine, for both of them to be balanced. Balanced it. Gotta balance this thing. But that is basically it. Just not overstraining yourself with some dogmatic template of what spirituality is. Just do your best in every second. Again, that remember that part. Just do your best, and again, as long as you continuously, like, being able to hear your inner voice. Like, as long as you can hear your inner voice, and tap into that. Cause I about to say, meditate, this and that. Leaving in, you don't necessarily have to, but to a certain extent, I keep it real. I ain't gonna say that, like, where you have to meditate in that essence, but indirectly, in order to clear your mind, it takes some way, form, or fashion of, sitting down and getting out of your thoughts, but, just, again, to the best of your abilities, just growing spiritually, taking that step that you can take, that you should take, you know what I'm saying? But I digress. Peace. Happy now. Now is the vibe rate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now. Peace.